Good morning, children. Welcome back to our English class. Last class we went in the Andaman Islands, in the ocean of Andaman Islands with manna. Today, let us go up in the space with three friends. One is Biff and the other one is Steve and Sue. So, we saw so many wonders in the ocean, isn't it? So today also we can see some wonders and what happened when they went to the space. Okay, it's from your main course book, lesson 4, A Holiday on Mars. Children, it is a story mingled with science and fiction. Science, you know, activated with the intellect. Science is activating or running with the intellect. Why? Whereas the fiction, that is stories, it is working with the imagination. So, this story is science fiction. Science fiction means maybe the author is telling about the future. May or may not happen. And scientists are preparing for the things to happen. Okay, let us go through the lesson. Lesson 4, A Holiday on Mars. Mars, you know? Mars, you know? It is one of the planets, a purple planet. Okay. There are some questions, warm-up questions in the front part. You have to answer that. A car that runs on electricity. Is it science or fiction? It is science. Next one, a house on the moon. Is it science or fiction? Fiction. Next one, a device that tells you the route to any place. That's a science. Meeting people from different planets. That's fiction. A machine that does all your work. Fiction. These are all imaginations. Spending summer vacation on Mars. That's also a fiction. Let us see. Steve and Sue are visiting the glass dome colonies on planet Mars along with Biff, their family friend. Now they must return to the spaceship that had brought them to Mars. The journey from the glass dome to their spaceship only takes 10 minutes on the high-speed sleds. So they decide to step up and watch the rockets being launched to send fuel to the spaceship stations above the planet. Here, Steve and Sue are visiting the glass dome colonies on planet Mars. During their vacation or holiday, Steve and Sue, they went to visit the glass dome colonies on planet Mars. They were having the friend, Biff, their family friend or any other friend. Okay? Anyway, it's a sincere, good friend, real friend, along with Biff, their family friend. Now they must return to the spaceship that had brought them to Mars. After visiting the glass dome, they must return to the spaceship that had brought them to Mars. How did they come to Mars? They came to Mars through the spaceship. The spaceship had brought them to the Mars. The journey from the glass dome to their spaceship only takes 10 minutes on the high-speed sled. Sled is the description is here. Children, the description about a sled is here. A sled looks like a plane without the wings, but a sled does not fly. It runs on the ground. Instead of wheels, the sleds have runners under them. These runners are long blades. They help the sleds move fast on ice surfaces. The sleds are long and very heavy. They run with the help of an engine. 3 people can comfortably sit inside a sled at a time. Sleds are a convenient form of transport on Mars. Sled is a heavy vehicle which which can carry 3 people. It is working with an engine, and sleds are convenient form of transport on Mars. It is just like a plane without wings. Sled is just like a plane without wings, and it does not fly. It runs on the ground instead of wheels. It runs on the ground instead of ground. Instead of wheels, they are having runners under them. These runners are long blades. They help the sleds to move fast. These runners help the sled to move fast on ice surfaces. The sleds are long and very heavy. They run with the help of an engine. 3 people can comfortably travel inside a sled at a time. These sleds are convenient vehicle on Mars. So, then you can see the picture of sled here in the lesson. It is a sled. It is just like a plane without wings. So, now they must return to the spaceship that had brought them to Mars. The journey from the glass dome to their spaceship only takes 10 minutes on high-speed sled. Sled, you know? So they decided to step out and watch the rockets being launched to send fuel to the spaceship station above the planet. They got time to spare. So in order to spare that time, they decided to step out to watch the rockets being launched to send fuel to the spaceship station above the planet. Let us see what is happening. In the dressing room, they put on their space suits. Biff carefully checked the siblings' air tanks, built-in heaters, and their helmet radio for talking to one another. In the dressing room, they want to wear space suit. Space suit, you know, it is the body suits that the astronauts wear before leaving the Earth. Space suits are the dress wearing by the astronauts before leaving the Earth. These space suits protect the body, that is human body, safe from extreme heat, cold, wind, gravity, radiation from the sun. These space suits. In this dressing room, these people, who are the people here? Steve, Sue and their family friend Biff. They put on their space suit. Biff carefully checked the siblings' air tanks. You know, they are only 12-year-old children. Steve and Sue are the 12-year-old children, brother and sister. Siblings means brother and sister. In the dressing room, when they are wearing the dresses, the space suit, Biff checked the siblings' dress, their air tanks, built-in heaters and their helmet radios. What is the purpose of helmet radios? It is used to talk to one another while traveling in the space. So, in the dressing room, they put on their space suits. They want to return to the spaceship. That is why they are wearing that. Biff carefully checked the siblings' air tanks, built-in heaters and their helmet radios for talking to one another. Thus they started. Outside they found space-suited figures gathered around the fuel rocket cannon. Suddenly the 3 of them heard a loud roar and saw a burst of flame. Like a bullet, the rocket left the muzzle of the giant gun and rose into the sky. Outside they found space-suited figures. That is, the persons who were wearing the spacesuit. They found space-suited figures gathered around the fuel rocket cannon. They were gathering around the fuel rocket cannon to do something. Fuel rocket cannon means a giant gun-like object from which rockets are shot out. Did you watch that? When the rockets are being launched, there will be a rocket cannon. It is just like a giant gun-like object from which the rockets are shot out. They saw that space-suited figures gathered around the fuel rocket cannon. Suddenly, the 3 of them heard a loud roar and saw a burst of flame. Suddenly, the 3 of them, our Biff, Sue and Steve, heard a loud roar. What was that roar? It was just like a bullet. It was just a lion's sound. It was a giant roar and burst of flame. They saw burst of flame and they heard loud roar. Like a bullet, the rocket left the muzzle of the giant gun. Just like a bullet, you know? Just like a bullet, the rocket left the muzzle of the giant gun. Muzzle means the open end. From the open end of the rocket cannon, the rocket left and rose into the sky. Just like a bullet, the rocket left the muzzle of the giant gun and rose into the sky. There will be shooting of more. Biff told that there will be shooting of more rockets. We can see, after this we can see more rockets being launched. Our ship is at the end of the canal. Our ship is at the end of the canal. We will be able to see the rockets go off as we head back. As we head back, we will see the rockets being launched. Because our ship is the end of the canal, we will be able to see the rockets go off as we head back. The three went to the canal bank to see if their sled was ready to go. For that, they went to the canal bank to see if their rocket was ready to go. And their sled was ready. The sled looked like a plane without the wings. The sled looked like The sled looked like a plane without the wings. Instead of wheels, they are having long runners beneath it. That we have seen. So, in order to watch the rockets shooting off, the three of them went back to the canal bank and they want to see whether their sled is ready, and it was ready. And the sled looked like a plane without wings. Instead of wheels, they are having long runners beneath the sled. Steve and Sue and Biff climbed into the front seat. That we have seen that there are only 3 persons can comfortably sit inside the sled. So they were 3. It was comfortable for them. Steve and Sue and Biff climbed in the front seat. Biff pushed the buttons in front of them. Steve and Sue felt the sled's engine throbbing. When a vehicle is starting, we can feel a movement, up and down, jerking movement, up and down movement. Steve pressed the button and they felt the sled's engine throbbing. Throbbing means they're walking. The next moment, the sled shot off over the smooth sheet of ice. The next moment, after some throbbing, the sled shot off over the smooth sheet of ice. The sled is having that runners, so it can move smoothly on the ice surface. Biff holding tightly to the steering wheel. Biff was running the sled. Biff holding tightly to the steering wheel. They sped along at 100 miles an hour. They sped along at 100 miles an hour. We will be there in about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we will be in our destination. Biff said, the ship leaves in 30, which gives us some spare time. The spaceship only moves at 30. After 30 minutes, we will be there in our spaceship after 10 minutes. Then we will have 20 more minutes to see, that is spare time, to watch the rockets being launched. A few minutes later, Sue noticed a bright streak against the purple sky. Why the sky is purple? Because they were in Mars, on Mars. So the planet Mars is a purple planet. So after a few minutes, Sue noticed a bright streak against the purple sky. There goes another fuel rocket. That was the sign of another fuel rocket. Then he said that there goes another fuel rocket. Sue called out, pointing out that there is another rocket. Pointing through the windshield, he saw that he shown to others that there is another fuel rocket. So called out, pointing through the windshield. As Biff caught sight of it, he jerked up sharply in his seat. As Biff caught sight of it, when he was that, he jerked up sharply in his seat, bumping the shoulders of Sue and Steve on both sides of them. When he was watching the rocket, he jerked up sharply from his seat and bumping the shoulders of another two. That is Steve and Sue. That rocket is too slow. He said that. He exclaimed, that rocket is too slow, too low. That rocket is too low, flying too low. It is not lifting. It is not lifting. It is flying lowly. Something is gone wrong. Something has gone wrong. That rocket is too slow, he exclaimed. It's not lifting. Something has gone wrong. Something has gone wrong with that rocket, so it is flying too low. Steve felt chills run up his spine. He was seeing the danger too. Now, the rocket was dropping ahead of them. It was still quite a distance away, but even Steve knew that it would make a terrible blast when it struck the ice. He smelled the danger. Steve felt, because of the danger and the fear, some chills. Chills means very cold. Chills run up his spine. Then when we are having fear, some fires are piercing inside our body. Just like that, here, the chilling feeling. Steve felt chills run up his spine. He was seeing the danger too. It was a danger. What was the danger? The flying of the rocket too low. The rocket was too low. That was a danger. It is not lifting. That was a sign of the danger. He was seeing the danger. Now the rocket was dropping ahead of them. Now it will be dropped ahead of us. It was still quite a distance away. It was still quite a distance away, but even Steve knew that it would make a terrible blast when it struck the ice. When the rocket touches the ice, there will be giant crash, a loud crash. When it struck the ice, there will be a terrible blast. When the rocket, as it was flying in a low way, it will strike the ice, there will be a terrible blast. Biff's feet hit the brakes. Suddenly, Biff rose to the occasion. He braked the sled. Biff's feet hit the brakes of the sled and the runners tubed into the hard ice pack. He take the brake of that sled and the runners of that sled chewed into means dug into the ice. It stopped. The sled slowed all of a sudden. He hit the brakes of the sled. Who? Biff. Biff hit the brakes of the sled and the runners tubed into the hard ice pack, bringing the sled to a skidding stop. And when he put the brake, the sled, bringing the sled to a skidding, it stopped in a skidding way. Skidding, you know, sliding forward without any control. Sliding forward without any control. He put the brake, the sled stopped without any control. The riders were slammed forward. It was not expected, so the riders were slammed forward. Sue and Steve were dashed but not hurt. The two, Steve and Sue, were dazed but not hurt. They were not hurt, but they fell forward. When Steve's mind cleared, he saw that Biff had thrown himself over in front of Sue and him to protect them. When the mind cleared, when they come to the present, Steve saw that Biff had thrown himself over in front of Sue and him to protect them. In order to protect them, Biff was lying in front of them. But in doing this, his helmet, while rescuing these two, Biff's helmet had thumped against the windshield. It was now slumped over and not moving. In order to rescue them from the danger, Biff his helmet had thumped against the windshield of that sled. It was He was now slumped over and not moving. Slumped means collapsed and fell in a forward direction. He was not moving. He was unconscious. When he was trying to protect Steve and Sue, he felt unconscious. Something wrong happened to Biff. He was not moving. Just then they felt the shock of the explosion. It tilted the sled at an angle and it dropped it down again with a hard jolt. The air was filled with flying chunks of ice. The ice fell against the windshield like stones. Sue and Steve were relieved when it finally stopped, but the explosion had left the ice canal in front of them broken and choked with lumps of ice. All of a sudden that happened. That explosion, terrible blast happened. Just then they felt a shock of explosion. They shocked because of the explosion of that rocket. It tilted the sled at an angle. It tilted that explosion, that rocket tilted the sled at an angle and they dropped it down again with a hard jolt. Jolt means sudden and violent movement. The air was filled with the flying chunks because of the explosion, because of the hitting. The air was filled with the flying chunks of ice. There was ice. The surface was covered with ice. Because of the explosion, because of the terrible blast, the air was filled with the flying chunks of ice. The ice felt against the windshield of that sled, just like stones. The ice lumps are just like stones. It hit on the windshield of the sled. Sue and Steve were relieved when it finally stopped. Then for some time they can't move and they can't even breathe. They were fearing. But the explosion had left the ice canal in front of them broken and choked with the lumps of ice. Because of the explosion, as a result of the explosion, the ice canal in front of them, they want to move forward. But the ice canal had broken and choked with the lumps of ice, blocked with the lumps of ice. The ice canal was broken and the wave was blocked with the ice lumps. So let us stop here for this day.